What are the Kingpin's plans after episode 5 of Hawkeye? We are going to talk about that right now. Yes. Guys, Chris and Rob here at the Jersey Comic Crew, and Kingpin just showed his face, his beautiful face in the MCU. He is back. What is he planning in the MCU?
Yeah, so Chris and everybody at home, obviously Kingpin's here. We're all figuring out what is he doing. But before I get into that real quick, the Kingpin being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe confirms that we're going to get a new breed of villains. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking more about these grounded, rich, evil villains, these city, street level things, corrupting and controlling everything they can. I know in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're definitely used to these bigger than life villains. Ultron, Thanos, stuff like that. We're still going to get those characters, but probably just in the Avengers movies, right? Now we're going to be focusing on the nitty and gritty that's happening within our cities every day, right? Like I said, we're seeing hints of this throughout the Phase 4 of Marvel, Chris, right? Stuff like Madripoor, which, you know, as a big X-Men fan, is the center for scum and villainy throughout the entire world, right? We know Sharon Carter is now the power broker, right? In the comics, the power broker, if you don't know who that is, think of him like a mini Kingpin, works for people, give them like powers that they steal from other people. All this kind of like back alley stuff, like kind of creating her own empire, if you will.
Not only that, Rob, but we also just saw in Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah.
Battle fight arena, the new 10 rings run by his sister now. Mm-hmm. We don't know where that power struggle is going to be, if she's going to be good or evil, continue being that. It's a new breed of organized crime in a whole new country.
Yes.
And also, we have these glimpses now with Eleanor Bishop. You know,
High Society
New York, which we've been talking about throughout all of our Hawkeye stuff. And I think the Kingpin's just going to want all of it. He's the Kingpin.
Of course.
He's Marvel's version of Lex Luthor. Like, he's going to want a hand in the honeypot of all these different types of power struggles. And I think this is where we're going to see him actually not just focus on one character, but grow and become a literal Kingpin of crime.
So what is Kingpin's plan, right? That's why you clicked on this video. What do we think that he's going to do, right? Obviously, we got to talk about the traditional stuff, right? He's gaining wealth. He's gaining power to kind of move forward, to kind of do what he wants to do, to just be untouchable, if you will.
Yeah, I think he wants to do that, but I also think he has bigger aspirations in this world, right? This isn't the Netflix world where Daredevil is kind of the peak character to go after.
True.
You're in a world where Thor is around and Captain Marvel and all these big-time Marvel entity characters. Spider-Man's swinging around all day. I'm sure he's going to be pissed about that. I think he wants his own controlled superheroes. Now, whether the only side of that I can think of right now is Valentina and her somehow connection with Eleanor Bishop because she hired Yelena to go after Clint. So is Valentina kind of on retainer or in the background and he's trying to be like, hey, she's collected this new Captain America guy. Yelena's working. She's got a Black Widow. I want her people now. And what does he do when someone doesn't cooperate? We've seen what happens with Echo's dad.
He takes him out. I could definitely see that. Using Valentina as like, oh, go source out these kind of people because I need them under my empire. Because, like, let's say this is in canon with Daredevil. He realizes superpowered people are here, right? Even in the Daredevil storyline, they mention the attack in New York, right? They mention all this kind of stuff, right? So that's canon in the Netflix show, right? So if this is all in the same universe, he's like, all right, all these superpowered freaks are out there. There's only so much I can do. Maybe I need to amass this kind of stuff. We know in the comics, Echo, you know, his niece or daughter, or whatever you want to call it.
Stepdaughter or something.
Yeah, like she has powers, and maybe he wants to have her under his wing so he can kind of just do what he wants, right? Yeah. I think his end goal is going to be a little bit more political, very similar to the comic books. In the comic books, he's Mayor Fisk. He's untouchable in the criminal world and in the political / like everyday world, right? So if he gets to that point, he can just do what he wants willy-nilly. Willy, well, because he's Will Fisk. Got it, right? Right? That could be his end goal. We know he did it for love before, right? We saw that in Daredevil. We know that's how he was in the comics. Originally, that was his motive. But now, with that out of the picture, that the devil took him down, the devil from Hell's Kitchen, and now all these other superheroes are back, right? And like he has to worry about all this stuff, like people are coming into his territory. It just makes sense. He's like, listen, now I gotta take them out, maybe even politically, and he's gonna start coming to light, and he's gonna scare some of the average superheroes.
Maybe. I would love to see him as mayor. I would love to see the struggle between hey, the Avengers have always solved the world's problems by just beating the bad guy and overpowering them. How do you do that with a criminal mastermind who controls everything with power, money, and influence, and you can't just beat him up in the street to finish him off? You have to take him down a different way. You have to attack him a different way. That's where I think characters like, we know Charlie Cox is coming back in Daredevil. I don't know for sure if the Netflix stuff is going to be canon or not. Whether or not that is still waiting to be seen. But characters like Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, She-Hulk is an attorney as well. I think these characters, Moon Knight is going to be crazy in this. I think characters
Punisher,
like that.
Maybe even he's coming back.
Please bring back John Bernthal.
Right.
But like characters like that, I think are going to be way more key into trying to take down Wilson Fisk as he gets angrier and angrier by seeing another hero go by. And my other question to you, Rob, is this. Will Wilson Fisk be kind of this underlying problem throughout the Disney Plus shows? The street level villain that we're not worried about, Thor Love and Thunder. He's obviously not going to be in that. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Stuff like that is dealing with massive multiversal godlike power.
He's the Disney Plus / street level Thanos.
Is he?
Right?
Yes,
like he's the end boss.
Is he going to be maybe not the main antagonist of every series, but could someone that works for him be a main antagonist, and he's in the background as he's gaining power until we see him maybe in like a Spider-Man movie or a Daredevil movie down the line?
I definitely can see that. I think that's a logical thing, right? Especially if the shows allow you to focus on the nitty-gritty and flesh out those kind of worlds. So I'm sure Chris and a lot of you guys are wondering at home, how did the mainline Avengers heroes miss this, right? My answer, I think it's easy, because like the show and the Netflix universe is so focused on everything that's going on in New York. They don't have time to worry about everything else, right? I mean, perfect example, you could have tie-ins into the MCU like Vulture, the Vulture's company. They went to clean up these destruction sites. How smart and how easy would that be? Like, oh, that's a Kingpin company to clean money, to money launder, and Kingpin using these superpowered villains to do his bidding. Something that happens all the time in the comics, man.
That would be fantastic. And there's kind of a hint with, the Tracksuit Mafia and their little like moving truck company.
Yeah, right?
That would be fantastic. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? I think it's too small for the threats that they're dealing with, right?
It's too small for Iron Man.
It is. Like they had Chitauri to deal with at the beginning, and Loki and Ultron. I think it's one of those things where it's like, hey, how did law enforcement not take care of this? Because no one knew. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
He's untouchable. He's smarter than everyone else, and he's able to just maneuver, and like nothing sticks to the guy. So no. I think that's why this is going to be a new form of criminal. It's going to be like a frustrating root against him, but you for some reason like him, and you kind of want him to keep doing it.
Yes, exactly. And guys, that is our video on the Kingpin and what we think he's going to be doing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guys, we want to hear your theories down in the comments below. What do you think his end game is going to be?
And guys, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any more of our episodes, regardless of what it is. We have so much stuff we're covering right now. And make sure you catch up on anything that you missed. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran. We're the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you.